Hey everyone, welcome back to Metanoia. My name is Carrie Jane. Today is March 18th, 2020. I'm working from home now. I just finished a bunch of tasks. I'm taking a break and I figured might as well talk to you guys about the Life Path 4 number child. So if you haven't done so already, please stop what you're doing and go to the beginning of this series where I talk about the children of Gaia. This applies to all the Life Path numbers as children. That has a useful perspective in there. And then feel free to check out my introductory videos to my previous Life Path series, which was just a standard series on the Life Path numbers, where I tell you how to interpret the Life Path number. That is also useful to this series. If you want to know anything more about me, or you want to schedule a reading, or you want to support this channel, check out the links in the description. The core attribute to a 4 Life Path is knowledge, building foundations, and they are the observers. As a child, this could potentially translate to someone who is kind of like a little engineer. It's very common that a 4 Life Path child is really good at puzzles. They are good at figuring things out. They often have an inquiring mind, as one does when you're the observer, and even potentially kind of like a cavalier attitude, maybe a dry sense of humor, something to that effect. Kind of like a little wise toddler, and I believe I use that term to describe even the adult 4 Life Path. I describe them a lot of the time as wise toddlers. And to any of you who are probably not a 4 Life Path and have many potentially 4 Life Path friends, or maybe your childhood friend was a 4 Life Path, I think you kind of know what I'm talking about when I mean the term wise toddlers. There's something kind of naive about them, and yet because they're always observing and always absorbing stuff, they have a certain kind of wisdom to them, if that makes any sense. The first thing I would like to say is that if your child is interested in the sciences, let them pursue that. And fortunately, we live in a society that is more open and more enthusiastic about including women in the sciences, but we're still struggling, especially depending on where you are in the world. And so if you have a 4 Life Path female, identifying as a woman child, so if you're in that kind of situation and they're kind of maybe what you would call tomboy or whatever, but it's really just a person who's kind of focused on functionality, perhaps. If you kind of have a female who's interested in doing, other things like pursuing the sciences, maybe they just have a curious nature, and rather than play sports, they would rather learn about something like this. Please open that door for them, encourage them, because I think that this creates a lot of problems later in life, as it always does. And even in my 4 Life Path video, I talk about this strange difference that I've noticed in 4 Life Path males and 4 Life Path females. The 4 Life Path females kind of like have a spunk to them. They have perhaps even kind of like a harsh sort of exterior to the world. So it seems, not necessarily that's true. And that, I think, is just because you kind of have to be stubborn when the world doesn't really let you be who you are on that level. It's harder to be a woman and being so observational and be so kind of, I don't know, level-headed in this way, and maybe not want to do things the way that other people want you to do. And so instead of being the wise toddler, I think the 4 Life Path female becomes kind of like, reminds me a little bit of Taurus in the zodiac sign, kind of like the bull, stubborn and ready to fight. And this is a strength in some cases, so there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, I think it would be helpful to prevent your 4 Life Path child from becoming perhaps too jaded or too bitter about the world, if you kind of keep these doors open for them and not set these unrealistic boundaries for them, if that makes any sense. Out of all the Life Path numbers, the 4 life path has the potential to have the most struggle with socialization. And you might have an extroverted 4 life path child who does like actually enjoy socialization, and yet they perhaps might struggle with certain social cues or have a hard time communicating with people in general, because the way their mind works is often a little bit different than what everyone else is doing, than how everyone else's mind is operating. So my advice to you is that out of all the life path numbers, it's really important to get your child out of the house in many different situations and to expose them to many different things. 4 is also the number of home. It reminds me of Cancer energy as well. Cancer is all about the home. Okay, so creature comforts and things of that nature. It's very common for 4 life paths to, when they go out into the world and they get stressed out about it, they don't know how to relate to it, or maybe it's something else, who knows, they kind of get addicted to the home. I've seen many 4 life paths become addicted to video games, like just staying in their house, never leaving, just wanting to stare at a screen all day and solve puzzles, which, if you think about it, strategy is a video game essentially. So it kind of makes sense for, I think, 4 life paths to get into that kind of lifestyle. The guy who like smokes weed all the time and just is in their house 6 days of the week, or maybe they do get out and work, but they don't like to work. It's very common for 4 life paths, because of their potential stubborn attitude or their unwillingness to change, to get stuck in ruts. And this is a shame, because they have so much to offer. The 4 is about building things. They're meant to do something with this life in a very material way, in a very substantial way. And so it's a shame to have this kid with potential, but then they never really learn how to socialize, or they never really, so something in their environment was lacking, and they didn't have the tools to do their purpose, essentially. And so it's up to you to know what those tools are for your child. I don't know your kid, so that's that job is on your shoulders. Please let me know if you have any questions, as always, in the comments, or if you would like to share an experience. That's always extremely helpful to me and everyone here. So in a nutshell, just provide those tools for your children. And one of the things that you should always do for any child, but especially this child, is read to them from a very young age. They need a vocabulary. That will help them communicate, obviously, in a very practical way. I mean, it's social cues is another day, but having a vast vocabulary is a great start to that. And I know a lot of 4 life paths who didn't have that kind of upbringing, unfortunately, and that combined with, unfortunately, just having a lack of interest in language really set them back. They have a hard time understanding certain people when they say certain things, and it's not because they're not intelligent, because the 4 life path is very intelligent, and as anyone watching this right now, you're a human being, so you have very vast capacities to understand, but it's I don't know how to explain it. It's they need the tools so that their little engineer brains can actually make manifest that, and not become sloth, not want to just be home all the time and not fall behind in certain ways. But it's now when they have a great idea, which they always have great ideas, they can look at their toolbox, say, I know how to start this project, and then they actually do the thing. And so that's is our main goal with the 4 life path from a numerology perspective. And the last thing that I have to say about the 4 life path child is that it's very important for them to have a stable home life. And that is every single child. But it's emphasized with the 4 life path. Their entire world is centered around the concept of home, the foundation of home, their physical house, things like this. And a lot of us, we need a certain level of stability to exist harmoniously to be mentally and emotionally healthy, but we don't always get that, and if we do get that, we get that in certain ways, but not others. You know, for example, on the 5 life path, I thrive in change. I had a stable home life for the most part, but I was also thrown into many environmental circumstances that were different. You know, I spent a lot of my childhood in nature where it's always changing. You know, the weather is changing every 3 hours. I take a walk, I see a different landscape every hour or so. I'm encountering a different situation every moment to moment, and I was comfortable in those situations. I loved the entropy. I loved the adventure of a situation like that. Not every 4 life path is going to necessarily be like that. And so, you know, you can't control everything. Unfortunately, you can't control everything in a home environment. So the best way you create stability for any child, especially the 4, is to just develop an emotional stability. You know, no matter what happens, this is what we have, and that will never change. Make that known to your 4 life path child. Unfortunately, that's all I have time for today. Let me know what you have to add or what you agreed or disagreed with in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it up to this point, stay tuned for the next video, which will be on the Life Path 5 child, as well as, you know, many other things. I also am developing the calendar year series. So every month I'm posting a video about the numerological significance of the month. So, you know, stay tuned to those as well. And, you know, with this virus, it seems that the future is very uncertain, and I could be working from home indefinitely now, which will give me a few more hours to the day, just because I don't have to travel, just because I don't have to be in a physical building. So maybe I'll try to make use of this time and make more videos in the meantime, make something good out of this very unnerving situation. So I hope you all are doing okay out there with everything going on. Of course, by the time I post this, who knows what this is going to look like. It's going to be like a couple weeks from now from when I'm, you know, videoing this, or potentially sooner, maybe just a week if I decide to condense my posts. We'll see. But yeah, like I said, I hope you're all doing okay out there. Subscribe to Metanoia. You know, you're not alone. We're going to make it through this. It's going to be okay. Don't panic. Watch my video on Stay Calm. I made a video in light of recent events. So yeah, I'll see you all soon. I hope you're having a lovely day, and take care, guys.